When your old career gives you lemons, throw in some ice, mix in some vodka, and call it a podcast. From the Mac of All Trades studio in Fairport, and driven by Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, it's Billified, the Bill Moran Podcast.
Well, hello and welcome. How are you? Oh. Lots happening at Billified, and I got to tell you, like, there's so many things happening in my, just like everybody, right? Your own little world, your own life, and I want to tell you all of them, but I can't for ethical reasons in my head. Maybe that's my thing, but there's a lot of things that have been happening. But I promise I will be disclosing more things about me and where I am in different stuff. You ever just look at your life and go, how did we get here, man? How did we get here? And I think everybody has hit that point. And I believe the greatest thing to do is, honestly, if you ever find yourself there, get grounded. And by that, I mean, bring it back to the right now, right now. Because most of our anxiety is about the future, and most of our frustration is about things in the past. And we take those two things, our uncertainty and our frustration, and we combine them into making up conversations that may never happen and arguments that may never happen and different things. And I would just say, try to bring yourself back to being grounded. That's the only advice that I would give anybody. I just have been kind of crazed with different things. I'll tell you, man, if you're thinking of going back to school, you're stepping into something big, baby. Because at my age, it's been my age and where I am in life, it's become a little bit more of a challenge than I had expected. But either way, here we are. I wanted to bring back a conversation with somebody because I want to get this person back in the studio and was hoping to do it sooner than later, but we're working on it. Tommy Brunett from Iron Smoke Whiskey. We had a conversation in year one of Billified, and this one mattered early on. Going before Hoochenanny was a full-blown festival, pulling names like Joan Jett, and this year, My Morning Jacket. Before it took over Perinton Park, which it will do in mid-August, before it became a thing, there was just Tommy Brunett. And I have always admired Tommy. I admire people that have the balls to follow through on their ideas, and sometimes that can be a very scary thing, because if it's not you saying all the reasons why something's going to fail, it's somebody who's close to you who thinks they're helping you out, telling you all the reasons why you shouldn't do something and you shouldn't fail. Tommy's messing around making apple smoked ribs in his backyard and goes, I should make a whiskey. And then it becomes a full-fledged company. Not an easy thing to do, right? And you've got to find people who believe in it as much as you do, and you've got to find all this stuff. But he did it. That's the thing. And I sat down with Tommy back in year one of Billified, and really at that time, Billified was finding its voice. And honestly, I think this conversation helped shape it. And you're going to learn about Tommy being homeless, to rock stages, to building Iron Smoke Whiskey, to now creating one of the most talked about festivals in the region, the Hoochenanny Festival, which is going to happen August 14th to the 16th in the town of Perinton Center Park West, right in Fairport, which is also the home of Iron Smoke. Early bird tickets for that are on sale now. We will get Tommy in to talk more about this and how that whole thing. But this was originally his idea. He did it, year one, I think, down in Geneseo. And then last year was up at Duran Eastman, and he had partnered with Sean McCarthy from McCarthy Tents. And it's grown since then. And I watch all this stuff, and I watch people who just take these ideas and run with them. And I go, yeah, that's what we're supposed to do. But but it's so much easier said than done, right? It's so much easier said than done. And I just will say, this is what it looks like when someone builds a life, not just a career. This conversation. And yeah, I say that Tommy Brunett is still the coolest guy in the room. So from April 2023, year one of Billified, let's run it back with Tommy Brunett.
Moving forward, using all my breath.
You get sick of hearing this song ever?
No. Nope. Changed my life.
You know, it's interesting, and I Tommy Brunett's here, Iron Smoke, but I said to him, I wanted to talk to him forever, and I hope that didn't freak you out, because you've had world tours where you played in front of like 30,000 people a night with Modern English.
Yep.
I think, did you do tours with your own band?
Yeah, we're a solid opener. Like
Yeah.
Tommy Brunett band will be playing with, like, we open up for everybody from ZZ Top to the Lumineers.
Yeah.
We opened up for Lumineers on the roof of Whole Foods during South by Southwest in Austin.
Man, I love South by Southwest.
Yeah.
I haven't been there in years, and I was kind of excited now that I'm doing the podcast. I go, shit, let's go back.
Yeah.
South by Southwest and the Montreal Comedy Fest were two places I always wanted to take my sons.
Yeah. Well, it's South by Southwest is a blast.
When did you do that?
I went every year, and then all of a sudden COVID hit. But
It changed a little bit over the years. Right now, it's more, there's film in there, and I don't think there was
it's like
film
3
when I
weeks
was there.
Film. There's like digital.
Yeah.
And then there's the music still. And then there's, did I say film?
Yeah.
Yeah, film. It's crazy. They built such an amazing thing, but you do like 5 shows in a day.
Uh-huh.
And usually like they'll have me do a corporate gig.
Yeah.
And then like 4 that are like, maybe a Spin magazine party back when Spin was a thing.
That's fun.
So you play like, and your shoes are squeaking because you're just done,
Yeah.
from playing all those shows.
So
you go from one
that
to
was
the
the
other.
Tommy Brunett band that did that.
But I had a pickup band from down there that I know, the musicians down there.
Okay.
They actually live in a shotgun shack.
They do?
Yeah, live there. And I think they were going to do a TV show on these guys, but you go up in the mountains and all they do is play after they play at this house.
That's
and
so
literally
cool.
like the shotgun shack where there's a door in the front and a door in the back.
Yeah.
And so you can shoot a shotgun through the house. So we just went there.
Up in the hills of Austin area?
Yeah. And
wow.
and it was like an old car with grass growing over it and a toilet with beads in it from a party, and we did one rehearsal, and then that day, like our show was like an hour after we did the rehearsal up there.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. Because when I think about you, I didn't know that. I didn't know that the Tommy Brunett band had opened for all those other bands as well. I knew you had toured, but
There's more. Like there's like Outlaws and Charlie Daniels at Finger Lakes Racetrack.
How was that?
Oh, it was great, man.
Do you get to meet them? Because, one of the things that came out yesterday was Metallica saying how disappointed they were when they opened for the Stones in 2005, because I guess somebody walked in and said, hey, Mick Jagger's going to walk through here in a second. He's going to his truck that has an entire gym in it, and he's going to work out before the show, but don't make eye contact.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Is that really a thing?
Yeah,
You've been told that?
Well, not.
I always thought that
I've
was
been fortunate.
bullshit.
ZZ Top, when we played, the guy goes, everybody get the F out of here unless you're with Tommy Brunett. And I'm like, I've arrived.
Yeah.
I didn't get kicked out. Because sometimes they take your pass off you when you're done.
Yeah.
And you're out.
Okay.
You don't get to be able to be back there. What was a good? Oh, George Thorogood I played with a couple of times. And
now, George Thorogood, I interviewed, and I had somebody come to me afterwards and go, he's usually a dick.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is he?
I never talked to him.
Okay.
In the first couple shows, I never
Yeah.
could have words with, like, he just was, I didn't even see him. I'm like, I'm looking forward to it. Maybe I can check his guitars out and stuff.
Yeah.
Nope, nothing. And then the last time we played with them, they said, hey, you can hang out. George says you're cool or whatever. And I was like, all right. Well, I don't know what that means, but okay. So then when he walked up on stage, he's like, hey, man,
Yeah.
good job.
Okay, yeah.
I'm like, well, that was cool. There's a story. Someone told me that he met Bob Dylan once, and Bob Dylan went, and I love George Thorogood. I'm like, his tone and some of the stuff he did, but he goes, he was really excited to meet Bob Dylan. He goes, Bob Dylan looks at him and goes, yeah, you're that guy who does the cover songs. Because a lot of his songs are covers.
They are covers, yeah.
But
Bad to the Bone and all
nonetheless,
that.
it's George Thorogood, the Destroyers.
You're
They keep
that guy that does it.
Yeah.
Man, talk about putting a pin right in you.
Oh, God.
Right?
You know, I'd
That
be
would
like,
be horrible. I had no idea. So that's got to be something about you. You realize that?
I don't know.
No, but like that vibe, you are one of the most genuinely cool. I always say there's cool that anybody can be, and they're not, but they could be. And then there's guys like you who just you're a cool nobody. You know what I'm saying? You just ooze. It's a whole lifestyle. That Iron Smoke thing is a whole lifestyle.
Yeah, it is a lifestyle.
I really believe
it's
that.
It's not a job. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah. I see that. But when I was looking up stuff about you, I mean, one of the things that I know you're very humble and you won't take a lot of credit for this, but you helped revitalize Fairport. Fairport's exploding, and a lot of that has to do with you. You took something that was a rundown area that had nothing for decades, Tommy. You went in there and proved it could work, and now the place is exploding.
Yeah, well,
I know.
It was the thing we really needed was cheap rent and high ceilings, so it wasn't like I had a plan. But my business partner Steve Brown found that location and the price and the high ceilings for the stills, and we also could have our grain bins out front. They look like, we call them whiskey missiles when you pull up.
Yeah.
But those hold fresh grain, so you wanted to make sure it was the freshest ingredients, and then, hammer mill on site, so you have the fresh crushed grains, kind of like Sanka or French press. You want the French press before it goes into the mash tun, and we use all Kentucky Vendome stills. But when we first moved in there wasn't a parking lot. There was no electricity. We put it in there. It was just busted
old warehouse. But how do you have that vision? Like, I can't. Sometimes I'm amazed how people can walk in to a place and go, yeah, it's great. And I would go, I don't know what you see. And then they remove a wall and they do something else, and then you got it. I think your space is one of the coolest I've seen.
It's cool. I think, well, thank you so much, because we work hard at it, and it's like it takes a village to make a bottle of whiskey now. Yeah. But it's everybody kicking in thoughts. Like when we were going to open the tasting room, we had a Christmas party, and that room was full of like washing machines, no windows, falling down. There was a ramp going into their building. Oh shit! Yeah, that's the tasting room that we have the concerts in now and stuff. And
whose washing machines were they?
I don't know. So they were coin operated laundry. I don't know what was going on. It was the old landlord, so probably made a deal with somebody. You could crash them here, and we purposely didn't do too much to it because we wanted to make it kind of feel like illegal to be in almost.
Yeah.
And I took Josh Miles back there during that party, and I hit his iPhone little, flashlight, and I'm like, "What do you think?" He goes, "It's plug and play, dude. You got to do it," because he opens up restaurants.
Yeah, he does. He's done a ton. He's a Revelry, and I think even the one in Bushnell's Basin is his.
Bronca,
yeah.
Yeah,
ton of them.
Yeah,
right.
Bitter Honey.
That's right, Bitter Honey. Yeah. But I mean, you have been. So we talk about that as success, but is it true you were homeless at one point?
Yeah, I was a runaway.
As a kid.
Yeah, that's why they had me do that weird the fashion show. The Center for Youth Services is involved, but they turned me around.
You ran away?
I used to jump. I was crazy. I don't know how my parents lived through it, and that's another story. But I used to jump boxcar trains and just end up somewhere and just trying to get home and sleep under railroad bridges.
Holy shit!
Thruway bridges, highway bridges.
How far did you get on a box train as a kid?
Not far, man. I jumped off of Batavia one time and tried to figure out how to get back, and then I think I made it almost to Syracuse once, but it was just.
What year is this?
I was probably in the 10th grade or something.
Okay.
No,
I'm
it's
saying,
a blur.
I'm only saying what decade, because there's no
I'm
cell
old.
phones.
Yeah.
Right.
There was. That's another point. When you're on tour, you got to wait till the truck stop.
Yeah, man, to make a call to check in at home. Like my parents, when I was a kid, put in an 800 number because we would call where I went to school and where I lived is such a jerkwater town, and they call it upstate New York. It's down by Rhinebeck.
Yeah, it's
And
a beautiful area.
It is a beautiful area, Hudson Valley. But we would have to call home from long distance. So my parents got a Call Home America 800 number. So you could go to a payphone and you just dial an 800.
Yeah, I remember those.
Yeah, and that was.
But when I got into modern English, I made it in the band. That's another crazy story. But I went from eating a Snickers bar from the gas station, cutting it in half and have that for lunch and dinner, and some combos sometimes if I could do, because I was making a record in the middle of Pennsylvania when I got the call to audition, and the singer called me up. They said he's going to call the studio, was the label that got me involved, and she said, Robbie Gray's going to call you, and it's the guy, that's the singer, he wrote the song and everything, and it was, the phone rang, and I'm like, okay, here we go, and he goes, first thing he said was, well, what do you like to wear? And I'm like, I'm not afraid to mix polka dots with plaid. I like to wear shoes that arrive in the room a couple minutes before I do.
This is your answer?
Yeah. And then he goes,
where the fuck did you come up with that
I don't know.
answer?
I just was like, I'm just going to go for it.
That was great.
And then he said, what kind of guitar do you play, mate? I'm like, what kind of guitar do you want me to play? You're the boss. And then he just hung up after literally 4 or 5 minutes, nothing. And I hung up, and the girl from the label called me and said, he wants you in New York City tomorrow. Can you make it? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I'll be there. And I had no car. I had no money. And I borrowed someone's car.
Okay.
Borrowed someone's telly and went and did it.
Wow.
And then Yoko Ono was in the kitchen with her son. David Bowie was rehearsing down the hallway. And I was like, this is the shot. This is what this is what they say.
Some
is
people
like, don't
crumble
mess
under
this
that
up.
kind of pressure.
Well, especially because you got to learn all the songs and drive to New York from the middle of Pennsylvania, figure all that out.
Yeah.
No sleep.
Right.
Fingers are like lines in the fingers from just trying to get the songs down for over and over. And I played 3 songs, and they go, we'll be right back. And they got out of the room. They came back in. They go, so what are you doing for the next 3 months or so? And I'm like, hopefully hanging with you guys. And it's like, they're like, you're in, mate. And I'm like, all right, well, now what do I do? And we went right down to the bar and drank Boddingtons for the first time I ever had Boddingtons.
It's one of my favorites.
They drank the bar out of Boddingtons.
Yeah.
And I remember going, what do I do about the car? What do I do about the guitar? And from right then, everything was taken care of. Like, give him the keys. Where is it parked? Don't worry about the guitar. And I went home and gave a checkbook to my dad and went back for rehearsals. And maybe 10 days later, it was like national television. And,
Right.
Holy
shit.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like Gibson got...
That's the closest thing to, and I don't, because I don't believe it, but that's like the closest thing to overnight success, but it's not. You were grinded making a record. How did they find out about you? The girl from the label knew me. Knew you.
And of me, and I kept just looking for her.
Yeah. You were going to play with David Lee Roth?
I did get I got close to audition? A lot of things. No, that was done, but I'd always go like, Def Leppard needs, or whatever. And she'd always look out for opportunities. But I played with Lou Gramm.
Yeah.
When he did the Midnight Blue thing.
Yeah.
And I thought I had the gig. He's like, yeah, you're in. And then his bass player had a guitar player he promised the gig to out in California, I guess. And Lou was like, I didn't know this happened. And I'm like, really? Oh. And I couldn't really use that gig right then. Can you imagine like playing? I know my friends and ex-bandmates, some of them have played for Lou Gramm, but it's like...
This was Lou when Lou was doing solo stuff.
Yeah, right when he
So Midnight Blue.
Yeah. That album, I remember learning that song and sitting across from him playing on somewhere near downtown where he's got all his cars. He's got the big blow-up jukebox thing.
Yeah. He does. He doesn't tell anybody where that is. Because so I kind of got to know Lou a little bit, but later on, right? Much later on.
Yeah.
And I used to say to him, I saw him at a car show, and I'm like, Lou, I want to see these cars because it's all muscle cars.
Yeah.
And then he tells me a story. Now he's divorced again, but he was married at the time. So he was going to play Party in the Park, and I walked up. I was standing there because I was going to introduce the bands. And his wife gets out, Robin, and she's like, hi, thanks for having Lou on the radio show today. A great interview. And I said, yeah. I go, man, that is so cool about the car that he had trailered from California, and she looks at me, and the guy's standing behind me going,
No.
like, look, I go, you're fucking Lou Gramm.
Yeah.
She doesn't get any say.
Yeah.
It's your money. You earned it.
It's the way it goes sometimes. But yeah, he it was unbelievable listening to the timbre and his voice was just like,
I always thought he was one of the best.
Horn, like it sounded so amazing and just like the record with nothing, just across the, like sitting across from him.
See, that's really
like,
cool
whoa,
to hear someone as seasoned as you say that about Lou, because I always thought he was one of the best voices in rock.
Yeah.
You know?
Legit. Like he's got how many hits? I don't even know. Like he's got like a play hits his whole concert. You know?
Right, with Foreigner and stuff. And then he always had kind of a bitter ending there with Mick Jones, right?
Mick Jones,
yeah. Mick Taylor was the young guy in the Stones who probably a guitarist like you that they picked up along the way, and then they just ruined that kid.
Yeah.
I remember him coming on the old Wii show, and they were trying to get him an 8-ball, and he was a mess.
An 8-ball?
Well, not him. Wherever venue he was playing was like, yeah, we got to find this. He was a mess, this poor guy. He looked awful. But you now have 2 kids. Mm-hmm. You've also done marketing for Richard Branson, and you're in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Yeah, doesn't it sound like a fish story, kind of?
No, it doesn't. It sounds
weird.
Fucking amazing. I'm saying, like, do you ever pause in your life and go, what a ride, man. No. What a ride.
Well, that's encouraging.
I'm just listening to you now. The Lou Gramm, the South by Southwest, ZZ Top says hey, he's cool. George Thorogood finally comes out. George Thorogood probably doesn't talk to anybody.
Yeah,
That's
there's
amazing.
A lot. But that whole... There's a lot. The Guinness Book of World Records thing was, I was Armin from the House of Guitars. We're on his label, and there was a show called Just for the Record out of Australia that they wanted us to break the Who's decibel level. And
really?
Yeah, and it was 123 decibels, I think, and we got the Guinness Book of World Records plaque at the House of Guitars with our, when Immaculate Mary.
Yeah.
The hair farmer days.
Yeah.
But that's all I wanted to do was play guitar when I played hockey, and then I found the guitar, and that was it.
Yeah.
Nothing else really mattered.
Where did you go to school, high school?
I went to Kearney for a couple of years and got kicked out.
Okay.
On my permanent record, it says I was a bad influence on the Kearney family. And then there's a long story, and I don't know if I want to go into that, but the guy that kicked me out, the brother who kicked me out, got busted for soliciting a minor, because he used to ask me weird questions. I'd be like, none of your business. And my dad was so mad at me. Then that happened years later, and my dad was like, I'm sorry. I thought, because I was a punk. Yeah. Why would you believe me? I wasn't
your old man came and apologized to you.
Well, he told me that. It was years later, though.
I understand, but like I've had a similar thing. I've talked very openly, not to change things here, but where I was molested by a babysitter.
Oh, you're kidding?
No, as a kid, 7 years old. And it went on. Yeah. And so it can fuck you up, it really can. I'm old now, and I've worked through stuff, but I've had conversations. My mother confronted the dude.
Oh, my God.
Years later.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's
years
crazy.
Later.
What a dirtbag.
But there was something about that made you sort of feel validated. I don't care how old you are. Yeah. Same thing with your old man going, hey, man, I'm sorry. They
would lock me in a room with a Bible all day. I'd get out. He'd hit me with this bicycle rubber thing on my hands, and it was crazy. And it was a different world back then. And but it was just, I never got. Like no one ever went as far as they did with you.
No, I understand that.
But it was just unappropriate.
What is that fortitude inside you that a lot of kids would fold after that, right? Because you're going to get the pressure at school, and then you go home and your old man's pissed, right? Because all this stuff in Kearney. But what made you never kind of waver on this thing? I mean, you had like this. Is it a free spirit? Is that what you call it? You're jumping on trains,
it's crazy,
and fucking sleeping under underpasses. That's not nuts. There's something freeing about it.
Yeah, I guess, but I just didn't. It wasn't right, and I knew it, and there was something off.
But it's an adventure, man.
Yeah, it was okay, But and then I went to Schrader.
Okay,
and I remember, I think I got a fight with the toughest guy in school, Dom Trincini. He plays with. He's a musician. And we ended up in a band together afterwards. Back then, you get in a fight, and then
Yeah.
you're best friends afterwards.
Especially guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were. I remember the same thing.
Yeah, there was a smoking lounge back then.
Yeah, there was. You could
Idiots.
smoke outside.
It's the dumbest thing I ever did. I did a lot of dumb things. That was a big one of them, smoking cigarettes.
But so now you have the Tommy Brunett band at that point that's opening up. It's 2008. You had done marketing. You were in New York City, and then the bubble kind of comes. Right?
Yeah, that's when.
Yeah.
I was. We had an office on between Prince and Houston on Broadway.
Yeah.
We were cranking. I was working like literally. I'm a blue collar kid. My dad was a plumber and my mother was a nurse living in Webster, New York, and all of a sudden I got a place in Manhattan. I've got like a view all the way to Central Park from down in Tribeca.
Damn, dude.
I was cranking.
And what were you doing? Music?
I was doing I started
Marketing?
a radio show called Universal Buzz Radio, and we built that into 3.2 million listeners or 3.6 million listeners because of the internet.
Okay.
We had it on college radio.
Yeah.
And it was upcoming bands like we recorded Kid Rock at Water Street. We recorded the White Stripes at the Bug Jar when I lived above the Bug Jar. And he stayed above the Bug Jar with his wife that everybody thought was a sister, Meg. But those guys,
shit, that's right. Everybody did think that.
yeah,
I didn't know that.
he's amazing. Like,
I saw Jack White on Crossroads.
yeah.
I think he's a fantastic guitarist.
I wanted to stop cars on Monroe Avenue and go, get in here. This guy's is singing like Robert Plant and playing like Jimmy Page. You got to see this guy. And then we hung out. He's an encyclopedia of blues. We hung out at South by Southwest. I think I stole a bottle off the bar at an after party, and we sat by the porta potties, like drinking that bottle and just talking about music.
Yeah. You ever still talk to these guys?
No, it'd be like when I run into somebody,
Yeah.
and I go, hey man, this is
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember this.
Well, how are they gonna? You're hard to not remember.
Yeah, I don't know. Since some people just like, I don't know what happened. Like, I was hanging out in Nashville. The guy owns Tootsie's and like a lot of other legendary bars there. He's like, they wanted me to go to his girlfriend's grandmother's birthday party to meet him because he blew me off that day at a meeting.
Yeah.
And I ended up singing happy birthday to his girlfriend's grandmother. He's like, let's go to back to Tootsie's. I go, I can't go to, I got a meeting in the morning. And they go, if he says go to Tootsie's, he wants him to meet his friend, you go. And I'm like, all right, I guess we're going. And we all jumped in the big car and went to Tootsie's. If you know, Tootsie's like 3 floors of music.
Yep.
And we went upstairs in that big room. And there's the VIP section. The VIP section is behind the stage, so you're above the stage behind it.
Wow!
And his friend's Kid Rock.
No shit.
That's where we wanted me to go and hang out. But
did you remind Kid Rock that you had recorded him at Water Street?
I never really. I told him, I go, the Devil Ray Out There Cause release in Asia where you had a live track from Universal Buzz Radio. He goes, yeah, I remember that. I'm like, that was my radio show.
Wait a second. Like, you ended up on an import?
Yeah, we recorded them, and no one had live tracks back then. The platinum albums hanging at Iron Smoke that I got from that release.
Wow. So you made money off that?
No.
No?
No.
There's no mail like
we got accolades.
Oh.
And we signed an agreement. I think we made money, but it was whatever. We didn't make. I think it was a couple grand or something. Okay. Not like we got paid like,
the royalty,
no.
What do they call it? Mailbox checks.
No, they never do that with our, back then we were just like, a bunch of outlaw kids trying to get Willie Nelson to let us record him and stuff, And then that grew, and then the White Stripes got signed to V2, which is Richard Branson's baby label.
Yeah.
And they wanted us to market them because we were on college campuses with the radio show. And
right.
It just catapulted. Like I got all of a sudden Fuse TV hired us for their launch. Yeah. I came up with a concept for a campaign for the subways in New York, and I just started adding zeros to my quotes. And then MTV hired us away. MTV2, remember the three-headed dog thing?
Yeah.
Because of what we did at South by Southwest. We took over South by Southwest for Fuse, and then MTV, and then it was just like Disney hired us. I was on like
Okay, so people go to school to learn how to do this shit. You realize that. People pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to get a marketing degree. And, dude, you just did it?
Yeah, pretty much just kept
fucking
going.
All just instinctual.
Yeah, I was good at, I didn't know how to spell entrepreneur, by the way. And I was like, would you call me? But it was more about just like, I had a knack for like ideas.
Yeah.
And then I put a team together to do the big ideas. Like, when I flew out to Disney, I'm like, wow, I'm on the lot, like this is wild. And they're like, okay, we're sitting down in a room, like we got a new movie. It's Johnny Depp playing a pirate, and it's going to be called Pirates of the Caribbean. And we need to know what to do to we really want to take over Hollywood and get people engaged. So I came up with
so Disney hires you. No shit.
To come up with ideas for a release of movie releases. We were doing stuff for like ESPN, like setting up boxing rings in the middle of Times Square. What was the other one? The House. What was it? HGTV.
Yeah.
They had something. I don't know. We did something, and
it's just kind of off. So okay, because this is fascinating to me. And it's fascinating because every single thing that we have in this world today started as an idea, right? So now it makes sense to me because I've heard the story of 2008, I'm living back up here, got kids in diapers, I'm smoking ribs and drinking whiskey.
Yeah.
People have ideas all the time, my man. They don't follow through. Do you see what I'm saying?
I know, but I talk about that when I speak at schools or whatever, colleges, and I do some speaking engagements once in a while. Yeah.
Okay.
And even with younger kids, I go, don't give up because you're going to get knocked down. You just got to keep going and pick yourself up and have faith that this is life. This is spice of life. Yeah. Everybody goes through it. It's not good times all the time. That's why it's an amazing experience being alive.
Well, that's why I say it's like a ride for you. Like when I start homeless and then I find out you're jumping on boxing, I think it's different for you. I think you look at everything as an adventure.
I do. I call it, when we go out like with Jen, my wife, or the kids, we call it an expedition when we're going away.
Yeah. I mean, it makes
not a vacation.
sense.
It's an expedition.
Yeah. Because, and with you, I bet it is. Because you'll find the coolest, most, everybody, you're not a tourist trap kind of guy.
No.
You'll find the authenticity wherever you are.
Usually,
I dig that. I really, really dig that.
And I tell the kids the show, okay, we're landing in Atlanta. We got to find our connection and make them do it. Or we take them back to New York City because they were born there. And we ask, what train we're going to take and what, even if we're going to end up in the wrong stop, we let them go. It's really incredible. But that 2008 thing, to tie that together in your head, because there's a lot of weird stuff we're talking about.
Yeah.
2008, the bottom fell out in New York City.
Yeah.
I was rocking. I didn't worry about anything. Money, everything. We were printing money with the marketing company. Had a great staff. And then 2008, the bottom fell out of the economy, and no one was paying us. I let everybody go. I sat down and told 10 people, I'm like, this has been a great ride. Yeah, I got 2 days. I can pay you for 2 days. And you're going to go out and look for jobs right now.
Okay.
It's all because it happened so fast. I didn't have anything else. And I owed money to American Express was calling me when Jagger's being born. They wouldn't let me hang up. I'm like, I'm getting my son from the hospital right now. He's just born. They're like, if you don't make a payment right now, this is going to happen. So that's what was going on in my world from having all this great stuff but I had my health and I had Jen and I had my kids, that's everything pretty, that's good.
Yeah,
you can do anything you want if you got your health and you got people who love you and care about you. But that's when I was in the backyard, kids in diapers, smoking ribs, drinking whiskey. And I'm like, Jen, has anybody done a smoked bourbon like barbecue? And there was only a couple of companies, Corsair and Balcones, and it was really over smoked. So we came up with a recipe that was not so smoked.
But how? This is what I'm saying is, you realize, like, as I said with the marketing thing, people went to school, nice, like U of R, they sit in courses and they have that. And the same thing probably with, who thinks This is what I'm saying to you. So to come up with the idea, and then I'm going to say this, 99.9% of the people go, nah, I can't fucking do that. Or am I going to do that?
But you know, when you got to think when that happens, dumber guys than us have done this.
That's a good point.
So
that's a very good point.
I mean? And the guys that are like, you know, it's just doing it and following through.
But the follow through with you is amazing, dude.
Well, it's having the right people around me too.
Well, I would agree that, you know, the idea of a self-made man, not entirely true, because everybody needs, you know, people around them to believe in it. But that's the thing, is you got to find the people that believe
in that they're smarter and better at something than you're not.
And you've got to be willing to put that aside. Yeah. So where do you? Okay, so you come up with the idea. You start looking for recipes.
Yeah,
are you doing this in your kitchen?
Well, we did it in friends' kitchens and people that helped start the businesses' kitchens and backyards. And I liked Pappy.
Yeah.
Back when you can buy it for $35-$40 a bottle on the shelf.
What is it now? Like $150, $175, $200?
It's around there, but as soon as you take it out of the store, it's $1,000 or $1,200 or $1,500 or but that's the recipe was based on a wheated bourbon, and that's where I met Drew, our master distiller. He's brilliant, and he was young and he was working on a still on the Finger Lakes. I went to Finger Lakes Distilling and talked to Brian McKenzie about what we're doing and showed him the designs for everything. And he goes, I don't have the capacity. I got to make my own. There's a guy up the lake called Montezuma Winery. And I went to them and Bill Martin and said, I need a still, you know? So he had a chicken smoker. I was smoking the grains, trying to figure that out.
On a chicken smoker?
Yeah. I started with corn.
You literally did it.
Well, yeah, with people around me that could help me, but I knew what I liked, and like the Bernheim like kind of thing, and then it's adjusting the recipe and what triple char on the barrels, and I didn't even know that bourbon turned brown because of the char in the barrel. I didn't know anything.
Yeah, I thought all spirits were clear until they were like sitting in the barrels.
So you know more than I know.
Well, but I only know that because I'm an alcoholic and I really like booze.
Got problems.
And I love brown. I do love the brown stuff.
Yeah,
my old man loved the brown stuff. I'm Irish. That's what happened.
Well, my Grandpa Joe and my dad Joe.
You had Grandpa Joe too? I did too.
Yeah, Grandpa Joe. He's first and last on the old dance floor. You know, I always had a Jenny Red Eye and a cigarette. I remember fishing and, you know. Yeah. He's Italian. I'm like mostly Polish, but I get my Italian from Uncle Joe.
Okay.
Grandpa Joe. Yeah. My dad, Big Joe.
That's incredible. So you went and smoked all this stuff yourself, and then it just kind of, but then other people are seeing this and just buying in.
Yeah, it was like my business partner Steve, I mentioned Brown. He said if there's not a lot of competition, I'll help pay for the first, you know, round and everything. But now it's like we're attached at the hip, thick as thieves, you know, like, and he's a really smart, wealth guy, like money guy. And just in general, really, really savvy. And, that happened. And then when we finally came out with our recipe after trials, we had like 300 cases. And I asked my distributor at the time, what if we sell out? I got the van with Scully on it. I'm in front of 5,000 people in front of ZZ Top without a drop in a bottle going, Iron, Smoke, tonight you're going to be healed by the powers of rock and roll and whiskey. Can I get an amen, brothers and sisters? You know, Iron, Smoke, Iron, you know. And we came out and he said it'd take a year before you sold out. And we sold out in a week and a half.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was counting on the guy down in the lake, Bill Martin, to make our stuff. We were counting on them. And that's when we found Fairport, because we had to make our own. And we're a New York State Farm distillery.
Yep.
But anyway, it was.
So when you think about it, ZZ Top now has their own whiskey.
Yeah, yeah.
But they don't make it. They didn't do that.
No.
They didn't go find a chicken. What did you have?
A chicken smoker.
A chicken smoker. Nobody did that.
He partnered with somebody. I wish he would have partnered with us.
Did you try?
I put it past him, and then we were supposed to talk about it, and then that other thing came out. But he's an interesting guy. When you're in front of him, you can talk for hours, but you know, getting a hold of him after the fact is a little different. But he's a great guy and a talented guy, and he gave me a bottle of his tequila. So I think my next meal, I'm going to reach out to him to see if he'll do our bourbons aged in his tequila aged in our bourbon barrels.
Oh, that'd be pretty good.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
And he's a good guy. I just don't know if he'll do it because of the bourbon thing now he's doing.
I hear you. Yeah, because he's got somebody that he does that with already.
Yeah, he's got I think it's Corsair or Balcones. I forget which one.
How satisfying was it for you to have Fortune magazine call you one of the best bourbons outside of Kentucky? Can I read what they wrote?
Yeah.
The Iron Smoke Distillery smokes its grains over applewood before using them in distillation. The process results in a bourbon that doesn't have a sweet, syrupy notes expected from the category. Instead, on the palate, abundant spice and smoke join in, bringing to mind char-grilled peppered meat covered in maple syrup. A must-try for those who are delving into bourbon but have a hard time with the sweetness found in most expressions.
It's crazy.
Well, that had to be, like, I don't know. Is that the kind of the crown jewel for you to go, hey, we're I mean, not that you didn't have markers along the way to show this is going well, but what an honor.
Yeah, super high ratings we got from Bill Murray's Whiskey Bible out of the UK, but 95.5 put us ahead of Buffalo Trace, Blanton's, Basil Hayden, Pappy Rye. And I'm not saying this other guy said he rated us higher, but that was a game changer for the real connoisseurs of bourbons globally.
Yeah.
And then the thing with the 10 best bourbons beyond Kentucky from Forbes magazine. This isn't stuff we're paying for an ad.
Forbes. I'm sorry, I said Fortune. It is Forbes.
Yeah, Forbes magazine. But this isn't stuff that we paid. Like
exactly.
Some people do an ad and they go, "We need you to do this." It was a surprise. I was on my couch watching some Netflix binge or something, and my phone started going off. And one of my business partners, Ron Kirshner, I think he was in the first. He goes, "Is this real?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's really. They did it." Like, call us, wow. So it was legit, and it was. Those things are game changers, because you think your baby's beautiful, but until like somebody else goes,
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. That's funny, because then on the other side, you've become like a big supporter of local music, another love of yours.
Yep.
It's like you've taken two things that just kind of go well together, right? The bourbon making, it's almost like you're creating and orchestrating, and then you got that. Do you ever miss, though? I mean, I know you got a lovely supportive wife, a great business going, but do you ever miss the 30,000 people screaming, when you're playing modern English? You do a little bit?
I mean, the more they try and throw me off the boat, the more I hang on to the side, and somebody else is like, did you ever think about giving up? I'm like, do you ever think about giving up sex? No. Yeah, right. I'm not, I'll still play, but I don't have to tour. I don't have to do that.
Right.
And I'd love, it sounds fun.
Yeah.
Like Alvio Fernandez.
Yep.
He's got to be always with his family. When you got a family and everything, and you got to do that.
Yeah.
That's a different story.
Right.
I can pick and choose. Like I did a couple, like a Harley Davidson event in Orlando.
Okay.
Over the winter or whatever, and fly in, fly out, in 2 or 3 dates here and there. That's about it.
How do people find you to book those things? Just through the website and stuff?
Yeah, it's a combination of just like, maybe they like the song I Like Beer.
Yeah.
Or
that's
whatever.
a great song.
Or they're a fan of modern English, or they're a fan of Iron Smoke, and they want me to be there. And everything's intertwined now.
Yeah.
My whole story and what I do.
It's your lifestyle. And that's what I dig about it. It's like you walk into your place and it's just got a cool vibe. The people that you hired are all cool people. You never see an asshole.
We have a zero asshole policy on both sides of the bar, the customers and
why do you let Mal Connery in there then? Because
that just comes with the territory. He was the first guy to walk in when we were doing we're going to open up our tasting room.
Yeah,
and he goes, "This is amazing. This is going to be great for Fairport."
Yeah,
he was all about it.
Yeah, he
was the first one and probably only one in the beginning that saw what it could be.
Yeah.
When he saw our I'm like, we're going to do our own burlesque shows. We're going to produce. With our friends, we're going to do concerts. We're going to do endless community events for fundraisers, whatever we need to do and it's going to be part of the brand. So it's not just a bar. It's an extension of like goodwill and fun times.
It is.
Hopefully people will feel safe when they're there.
The music is always good. The acoustics in there are great. The way you've done it all. It's kept that rustic kind of look, which I love.
Yeah, I think that was the only time I got mad was someone was painting over some stuff, and I'm like, no. Yeah. No, we talked about this.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky enough to, and fortunate enough to have people that believe in the vision and help me with that vision and got it,
Yeah.
Because some people are like, well, we got to sandblast everything and make it clean. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
It's you want that bombed out Moulin Rouge,
Yeah. Oh, it fits. It fits everything. It fits the label of the bottles. It fits it all. That's it. It's incredible, man. You've got it. What a ride, Tommy. What a flipping ride. You got to write a book or something.
Yeah.
You know what someone needs to do? A documentary about you.
Oh, geez.
That would be fascinating.
It'd be funny. I don't know about, but there's so much on the way to, like it's kind of like dancing between the raindrops, it's just, you got to keep dancing on. But I don't know, man. I thought, thanks. That's humbling. And I said,
well, I'm serious. I've always been like, I'm telling you, I've wanted to do this with you because I knew if you scratch the surface, there's a lot of layers to this guy.
Oh, there's so many more stories.
I'm sure. I'd love to have you back sometime.
I'm trying to stop myself from going, oh, yeah, and then.
Yeah, but see, that'd be awesome. See, that's the thing.
Yeah, it's been amazing.
Anybody doing Universal Buzz Radio at all?
No, we people still want those shirts. The guy from Ween loves the shirts, and a couple other guys are like, it's a space boy. I always wanted to be an astronaut, so I made the logo, a kid in a space helmet for Universal Buzz, and we just built a brand.
I remember seeing Universal Buzz stuff everywhere.
Yeah, it started on BER here.
Yeah,
and then that's pretty much how I met Jen, like my wife. Through the radio program.
Okay.
I make up a story. We'll talk about that later. When I'm traveling, I got a great made up story. They're like, really? And the more I talk about it, they go, really? No. But you got to have fun with people. I'm like, yeah, no.
Did you meet was there ever anybody who you really wanted to meet and then you met them and it was just really disappointing? Any rock stars or anything? You seem to have a vibe about you that they're very open and accepting of you. But sometimes, which I always think is a great thing because, like you meet your hero and you remember what they were wearing, what they said, all this stuff. Yeah. And then if they blow you off, that's a big moment for people that can be. But it doesn't sound like you had that at all. No, that's good. That's good, man.
I've seen them treat people badly around me. And that's a turnoff. Like, you pull away from me. I'm like, not to me, but to somebody else. And I'm like, man, like Gene Simmons, for instance, always stops and listens and says hello. If they're like, I've been a big fan my whole life. I've seen him do it. He did it to me before. He always stops and says, thank you.
See, I was never a Kiss fan. I interviewed him once. He's brilliant.
Yeah, he's a brilliant marketing guy, but he also knows
just nice and
that it's because of the Kiss Army.
He does, and really intelligent. Some woman called up and spoke Hungarian to him, and he answered her.
Oh yeah,
and I was like, man, he was a guy who doesn't disappoint at all, and I think shocks people.
It was weird. Well, at Sundance, I used to have to play for E-Entertainment for the celebrities, so. Dennis Quaid. I had to tell Timothy Hutton he had to sit out one song because he wanted to play drums again. But my job was to get the celebrities, to play for E-Entertainment, and it was getting images. So all the celebrities had to go there. It was like a 3-story gifting house.
Okay.
And Park City.
Yeah.
And
on Main Street.
Yeah, and everybody I played with was cool. Like The Edge gave me his guitar to play. Like he used this sherbet looking one. Matt Sorum sat in on drums. It was Pedro from Napoleon Dynamite. He plays harmonica. One time I got a call. They go, the Hobbits want you to come back to the gifting house. And this is after hours. And I'm like, all right. I thought it was a band. And it was actually Elijah Wood and the Hobbits that wanted to. And we stole a bottle of vodka from the vodka booth or whatever and played music all night.
How did you get that gig with Sundance?
It was weird. It was like through Gibson.
Yeah.
An endorsement, and through some friends that had friends out in Park City that I knew, and it all just came together.
Because there was a guy in Park City. His name was Rich Wyman, and Rich, when I lived there, it was '93, and he would play all the bars and stuff, and he was really trying to make it. And Valerie Bertinelli's brother lived there and was a good friend, and Eddie Van Halen came out, saw him, and funded the record and everything. But I don't think it ever went anywhere for this poor guy. Mm-hmm. And then I was backstage at a Van Halen concert, and I said, Eddie, do you know Rich Wyman? And we talked for like 10 minutes about Rich. He loved him. He goes, he's a great piano player, all this stuff, and he played all over Park City. But I bet he would die to get gigs like that. He never got it.
It was I met Valerie Bertinelli at a bar in Park City during Sundance, and I was like, what was she doing? Because she wasn't really doing much back then. It wouldn't make sense now. I didn't really...
Yeah, her brother lived in Old Park City. Did you ever go down into Old Park City? Yeah. So he lived in Old
She's
Park.
a sweetheart, man. Did you meet her?
No, I never did. I didn't.
She's
I met a brother, but that was it. I didn't
Yeah, she's super sweet, but
yeah. So what's next now for Iron Smoke?
just making the best bourbon we can, you know, and growing. We got a 5X growth plan right now. We got a grant from the state.
Okay.
We need to make more bourbon. It doesn't come out of the faucets, and we make everything there.
Yeah.
So we don't put filler in. We make it all for the Iron Smoke line.
And everything's locally sourced. When we say New York State Farm Distillery, it's all from our region.
Yep.
Yeah.
Farmer Russ, right down here in Williamson. He grows our wheat and corn. We go out there and visit him. You know, it's truly a really great farm distillery, great vibe. We're part of the New York State Distillers Guild. But next for us is the making sure we can make more as we grow.
Yeah.
And then we're having a bourbon festival in October.
I saw that.
20th and 21st. It's going to be music, culture, and bourbon. It's called Hoochenanny.
Hoochenanny.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we're working with the guys that work with Bonnaroo out of Louisville.
Yeah.
So we're going to try and build a franchise out of it and have some fun and promote tourism to the Finger Lakes.
It's a nice time of the year to do it, too.
Yeah, in the fall. We want
it's a great time.
The idea of like having the fall and the harvest season, which is super important to, you know, makers, bourbon makers and spirits makers. But that's going to be a ripper.
Yeah, I want to come down and do the podcast there.
Do it. Yeah.
I really would. I would love to.
It'll be great.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for your time, man. I don't know what your days are like. I think they get a little crazy with everything.
Yeah, thankful I'm busy.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing. That's a great thing. Do you mind if I close with this again?
Oh, no, I love it. I never leave a wedding without playing this song.
Really?
Ever. No.
That's funny.
The guy from Mark, I'm not with the touring guitar player. They're like, no, you're the guy.
You are.
Do you still get residuals?
I got to tell you, probably the coolest guy in Western New York, Tommy Brunett.
Oh,
seriously. You got to just go. If you haven't been to Iron Smoke, you got to go to Iron Smoke, and you got to make it happen.
Thanks,
man.
Billified.
Crashing all around your face.